Hey, hey, welcome everybody.
Hello.
Happy Monday. My name is Zac. This is Monique. Next time I'm going to let her introduce herself. Try that out for once.
One day we'll get there.
Yeah, see? Always getting a little bit better. Okay with whatever happens all the time. Yeah, awesome, guys. This is our Happy Monday Energetic Alignment and Mindset series where we are here to help people out, put some love into the universe, and get our mindsets in a different world, educate everybody on what energetic alignment is. You know, a lot of people understand what mindset is, but probably less people understand what energetic alignment is, you know? So, and that's a big part of her universe because I've been a real estate investor for 11 years. And what do you do, sweetie?
I have been in the energy healing space for 6 years.
Heck yeah, 6 years.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's what we do. She does that all the time. She coaches people, helps them through their limiting beliefs, their traumas, looks at things from a different perspective than a lot of us look at things in life, which is to say probably just a wider perspective and a deeper perspective than we're used to looking at. More of a non-mainstream type of understanding, yet at the same time, energy is something that's all around us, just like we breathe air and how physics makes gravity so that things fall. Energy is everywhere. It's just we understand a real small portion of it.
Yeah, we're just not taught. We're conditioned to believe that we are these physical beings with only physical senses. And that is so far from the truth.
We can just touch things like that as opposed to like feeling the energy, right? Yeah. You can feel when a fire's burning. You can feel that energy in a way. And that's an electromagnetic spectrum. It's in the infrared, actually, the heat. You feel the sun. You feel lots of things. And you understand how even like neon colors work. When you look under a black light, things pop out. Things that we can't normally see end up getting converted to our visible spectrum, and then we can all of a sudden see them. Because us as humans, we have a very finite portion of the infrared spectrum that we can see. That's why some animals can see in the infrared and others can't. You know, so in that same way, we are trying to get you guys more in tune with being able to see, feel, experience, understand all the energy that's all around us in how many ways it's all around us.
Yeah, because in that same, piggybacking off that same conversation, we have such a limited perspective of what is around us in the world. Like we know that dogs can hear tunes that we can't, like whistles that we can't. We know that animals can see parts of the infrared spectrum that we can't. We understand this cognitively, yes, but then we don't actually understand how this applies to our everyday life and how this simple concept that there is so much more going on outside of our current perspective, how that impacts our day to day. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, and how to bring in new perspectives and just, if you have a perspective about something that is just driving you crazy, or it's just quite frankly a shitty perspective, there are so many other options for how you could be viewing this. And because our perspective of reality creates the reality that we are experiencing, this is science. This is a reticular activating system in the brain. It pinpoints and picks out things in our reality that it deems important to us based on what we focus on, the thoughts we think, and how we feel. So we are literally missing things in our everyday reality that are available to us that we could potentially be using as resources or as a stepping stone to our next level, because of the perspective that we choose to see the world in. And this is often a conditioned perspective. And I just get so excited talking about this stuff, but I'll digress. I don't want to go into it all now. I know you were still going to talk about some stuff, but yeah, I just remember that dogs hear sounds that you don't. Animals see temperatures that we can't. There are things that we don't understand about the world, but yet we know they're happening, which means there are things possible for you to have in your life that you're just not even aware of right now. There are ways for you to approach something that you haven't even thought of yet. And it doesn't mean that it's not a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. There's definitely potential there. It's just, how can you unlock that potential? How can you unlock this perspective? And so hopefully you guys get some clarity around that today.
Yeah, heck yeah, right? We're going to have tons of fun, but yeah, energy in general.
Hi, Julie.
Hey.
She said hi.
Yeah, what did I see? Tearing away from Pace's all day Zoom. Yeah. Oh man, need a little break from that for sure at times. But Pace Morby, if you guys don't know, anyone watching this, is freaking amazing. He's the GOAT in creative finance and in real estate. So, but yeah, energy is something that's just very underknown as a whole, and it's often overlooked, and it might be lumped into something else like mindset, or it might be lumped into the universe or physics, or
might be just like brushed over. Like, we understand gravity, we understand, oh, I have energy today, or I don't have energy today. Right. And we understand, oh, I feel like crap, or I feel really good, I'm excited. But we don't actually understand our energy systems and our energy body and how it plays a role in our everyday life and in the reality that we are playing a part in creating.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times people will just take a backseat to energy, like say, I have energy, or I don't have energy today, or this thing is messed up for me, or, they give their power away to the universe and energy, when really what we're teaching with energetic alignment is you can take your power back, baby. Woo! We like that. That's a lot better, right? A little more inspirational and empowering. But yeah, if you guys don't understand, so energetic alignment, we say that it's energetic alignment and mindset. So summarize what that is it's when our mind, our body, and our spirit, mind, body, and spirit, they're all in sync. They're all synced up together. And it makes us feel completely aligned with our lives and just in our work too. It's everything within that is just all coming together. So that's when we're saying, get everything energetically aligned. Everything in your life can be that way, should be that way, wants to be that way. It's the natural order for things to all come together and to settle in that nice, aligned, happy way. It's the best to get you exactly where you need to go.
And it doesn't mean that we're not going to have hard days. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be obstacles, but it means the perspective that you are choosing to see the obstacle, to view the hard day, to experience whatever situation you are going through. That perspective is one more of ease and flow and less of struggle and hardship and butting up against it. And we're just taught that we've heard things, seemingly harmless things like life is hard, or if you want something, you have to work really hard, like you have to grind. And
you ever hear those sayings, guys? Things like that. It's like, the things we were just taught because we've heard so many times in our past, either from our friends who will tell us those things or from our parents who we've heard that before we even remember hearing that. It was just something that was ingrained in us, those little phrases that we think is normal.
But and these are very common phrases, but it's less about the phrase. It's more about the meaning that we put behind the phrase. So when we hear things like life is hard, or to have what I want, I have to work really hard. We don't want to do hard things. Like, we naturally don't want to do hard things. So when we hear that thing, we are like, there's a part of us that's like, ooh, I don't want to do hard things. I don't want this to be hard. So we kind of take a back seat to life. We kind of take a back seat to our goals. And then when we do step up, we have that belief playing in the background of life is hard. In order to have what I want, I have to work really hard. But our definition of hard is probably what we saw our parents experience or what we learned from TV shows or doing like hard work at school. So it's associated with a very negative connotation. And what we can do here is we can shift the perspective by shifting the meaning that we give hard. And so what is hard for you? Like, what does hard mean for you? If something has to be hard, does working hard mean that you are just struggling and just beating your head against the wall? Or does it mean that you do little spurts of like 2-hour spurts throughout the day? Does it mean that you're spending your days trying to find who can support you so you can work hard at feeling your best? Right? We have the power to change the meaning that we give things. And I think that something that's coming up is like, for me, I'm training for my first half marathon, and every single run up until this last run, I just did my 12-mile run, and our race is this coming Sunday. And I've never run this far before.
She's pregnant, everyone, if you don't know that too.
Yeah, I'm pregnant.
I've never run a race like that pregnant.
And I always would say like, oh, this is so hard. Like, I'm struggling. This is so hard. And for me, my natural tendency is to be very critical and to have a very very critical self-talk. And so during these runs, Zach's over here singing songs and just like telling me how beautiful I am and how excited he is for the future. And I'm
Great
just
opportunity.
like, I'm focusing on my next step.
We're in our active meditation at that point. So let's just like drive in some great thought processes behind that. Whatever. Part of you is in that. I know that. And I'm just like struggling to get through these runs. And so every run I would always find myself saying like, oh, this is hard, or oh, I'm struggling. Until the 12-mile run, I came to a point where I'm like, why am I giving this meaning to this run? I'm going to be doing this for 2 hours, whether I enjoy it or I hate every second of it. But the point is that I have a goal. And in order to achieve that goal, I have to take these steps. So I can give the meaning of these steps as hard, struggle, just like gritting my teeth during every single step, associating it with pain. Or I can shift this and say, yeah, this is challenging, but I can do challenging things. Or yeah, I can do this. And I'm going to be so proud of myself after I finish doing this. And so I had to play with that critical voice in my head and change the meaning that I was giving hard, change the meaning that I was associating with this run. And so the 12-mile run, other than I strained my calf before that. So it was a very slow run. So it was even longer than 2 hours, but I did it, and I felt really good while I did it. And my mind felt really good while I did it. And at the end of it, I'm like, wow, I don't feel completely depleted. I don't feel like I want to tell Zach, like, please shut the fuck up. I can't talk to you right now. But I felt really good, and I felt energized, and it was a completely different experience because I chose to have that different experience, and I didn't beat myself up the entire run. And how many of us, we have a goal and we just put our head down and we're just shit talking ourselves until we achieve that goal, or we're just beating down ourselves, or we're comparing ourselves to the next person. And all we're seeing is where they are and where we aren't, or all the ground that they've covered and the ground that we haven't covered, or how much we still have to go. And how does that make you feel? It makes you feel like crap. Yeah, not good.
Like, I know for me on my 11-mile run, I talked about it last week. Like, I cried like 5 times because all I did, my perspective was, how far we still have to go, how hard this was, how much I was struggling. I shift that for my 12-mile run, and I changed it to how far we've already run and how far I'm coming, how I'm breathing. So there's a lesson here. And what are you choosing to focus on? Where is your focus, and is it serving you? And if it's not serving you, how can you shift that perspective to a more supportive one? Because there is no right and wrong here. It's just, is this supporting me and how I feel and throughout this journey to my destination, or is this not supporting how I feel and I'm just gonna struggle during this entire car ride to the vacation spot, right? You know you're going to get where you're going to get, but you're either going to get there listening to music and having fun, or you're going to get there cussing out every person that cuts you off on the road, hitting every red light, and just complaining that, oh my gosh, it's only been this long. It's only been this long. But you have that choice. You have that choice of how you're deciding to show up and approach this endeavor. And it's really easy to see the hardship and see the negative because we're programmed for that. However, we don't have to live there. We can choose differently. It's just a muscle that needs to be worked.
Yep.
Yeah. Being less self-critical.
Heck yeah.
Being less self-critical is a huge step, because
Love that.
lot of us were taught criticism from our caretakers.
Yeah.
And so we take on that voice as our own, and that voice is not even us, because you would never talk to yourself that way.
And that's the key. Would you really end up talking to yourself that way? Would you bully yourself in those types of voices? I don't think you would. I think where being critical comes from is just striving, wanting more in life, not getting there yet, feeling sad, wishing that you were there, comparing to everybody else, saying, well, thinking I could have done all these things better. If I had done those things better, then I would be better right now. Then I could get to that potential goal, but I haven't. So I'm not that type of person. So I'll never be that type of person. Like this downward spiral self-criticism can go from. And it's just, so that's something to be careful of. And, how many ways can we shift our perspective from that to something that is just more supportive to what we want to do at the end of the day. So it's getting us to think things through. So that's what today's all about. It's about perspective. So we've got just a little story that we can help illustrate some things, get you guys thinking in the right mindset, see if you're going down this path or that path, and just see how easy it is to make that little shift in perspective, and then to feel what it's like on the other side of it. Just when you're actually feeling in a more positive and supportive perspective for where you're trying to go, it is uplifting, like a lot of the other exercises that we've done. It is so helpful in everything that you do. Heck yeah, Carrie. Always trying to be less self-critical. My gosh. But yeah, getting to that spot where we can at least see the option. We can see the two different roads, and being self-aware. And if you've ever looked at us on our other episodes on YouTube, they're all on there. But man, we talk a whole lot about self-awareness. That self-awareness is really the first step to anything. Without being aware, it's hard to make a change to what's going on in your life. Because then once you are aware, you're like, oh my gosh, now I know this thing is here. This thing is in the room with me. I didn't know this thing was in the room with this pink thing is in the room with me. What do I do now? What do I do? It's making me awkward. Now I know it's there. Right before, you might not have known, but now that you know, now there's this little anxiety of what do I do? Well, good question is, how many things can you do to help that? Not what, but it's like, how many things can you do? And yeah, all those things, Julie, absolutely. It's a process, but all of those things help you along the process. So some days it might be this one thing here that helps you and gets you going. But these 5 other things might be the other 5 days of the week that help you go and get you through everything, because it is just like a muscle, our mind that we're working, all of this, it's a muscle like any other muscle. Again, I'm going to say it, you got to hit the gym. all the time with
and
these
you wouldn't
things.
expect to go to the gym once and walk into the gym. You've never really lifted weights before. Maybe you've done some dumbbells. You wouldn't expect to walk up to the squat rack and start squatting 250 pounds. You wouldn't expect,
throw the weight on there.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect to pick up the barbell and start deadlifting 300 pounds. You would not expect to start bench pressing 200 pounds. You would start light, and you know that this is a journey. But the exciting part is I get to track my process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Julie, I get to track my process and I get to track my progress. And comparing yourself to other people at the gym doesn't do anything for you, right? But we do this with mindset work and with our energies. We're like, okay, well, I'm aware of this thing now, and now I know that this needs to shift, and I know that I want to be less self-critical, and I want to love myself more deeply. But then when we find ourselves talking crap to ourselves in our mind, or our mind starts getting a little loud and that little annoying voice starts going on and on and on, we're like, oh crap, well, I tried it, but today's been a terrible day, so I'm just going to eat Ben and Jerry's and lay in bed and watch Netflix all day. I'm going to wake up feeling like crap tomorrow. And then we let ourselves go down this spiral because we're not perfect immediately.
Yeah.
But you would never expect to do that at the gym. You would never expect a baby to get up and start walking, just start walking for the rest of their life on their first try. You would never expect a baby to open a book and start reading the entire book on their own, the first book that they ever opened. Mm-hmm. You would never expect yourself to just walk into a foreign country and know the language. It is a process of progress.
But that's not what we want. We want something fast. We want it now. And we think, oh, it's just in my mind. If it is just in my mind, then, it could be so easy. I just make this little shift. If I just think this thing here, then it's going to be easy. And boom, we'll get what we want. We can lift 1,000 pounds right away. And we're not going to break our mind by trying something that it thinks is foreign and it is fighting against. Human nature will fight against some of these things.
Yeah. And we want
that we're not used to.
Instant gratification.
Yeah.
But there's a way you can give it to yourself
along
your journey. And one thing that I want to address is this comment, Carrie, you're saying you're trying to be less self-critical, but also trying to focus and get clarity on the path that you're meant to be on. One, there's a little nuance there because our subconscious mind is really tricky, and it shows its true colors when we speak, because we often speak, we feel very comfortable speaking our language, right? Especially with someone that you love or you feel comfortable with. You feel very comfortable with just speaking just off the riff. You're venting, you're just communicating, you're saying what's on your mind. Well, our subconscious mind speaks through the words that we use. And there's little nuances like using words like but, or, and. So you're trying to be less self-critical, but also trying to focus and get clarity on the path that you're meant to be on. We can try to be less self-critical and also get clarity and focus, because for you, what I'm hearing is your subconscious mind believes that it's one or the other. I can work on being less self-critical, or I can figure out what path I'm meant to be on, but I can't do both at the same time. That's what's coming up in the subconscious mind. And a lot of us say things like this. We say, but, or we say, or I want this. But something that I've really focused on training my subconscious mind is to focus more on and, because we live in an and universe. And when we say and, it really expands possibilities instead of contracts it. And one thing that a lot of us get caught up in is we associate our path or our purpose with money-making activities. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes your path and your purpose, they're either funded by your money-making activities like work, or they're contributing to it, but they're not always necessarily connected. And so for us to have and develop more focus and clarity on the path that we're meant to be on, it's literally about just following your joy and following what helps you feel really lit up in any given moment. And here's the thing though, our mind will tell us, well, that's stupid. That thing that you find joyful is stupid. That's just a pastime activity. But that's not the case. That thing that you find joyful is exactly what you're supposed to be following more of, because that's what's going to light up your energy field. And that's what's going to make you more attractive to what you actually want in other areas of life, because every other area of your life is a reflection of who you are being in any given moment. And if you are being someone that is in your joy, that is illuminating with joy, with happiness, with love, with gratitude, guess what? You are a magnet to what you want. You are a magnet to what you want. And if you don't know yet what your joy is, if you had a day of doing anything, what would it be? If you're thinking of yourself at the end of the day and you're like, wow, this was an awesome day. I was so happy. I was so pleased with this day. Or it's the night before. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for tomorrow. What are you excited for? Are you excited to just relax and read a book? Where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? What kind of food are you eating? And it's finding these little, it's just answering these little questions that we try to make so complex, but they're not. They are so simple. They are so simple. And the more we try to complicate it, the more we get into our head. And the answers are not in our head because our head is our ego. The answers are in our body because this is how we feel. We feel in love with someone. I don't think every day, I love Zac, I love Zac, I love Zac. I feel I love him so much. I can feel it in my body. My heart lights up when I think of him. And that is a feeling. It's not a thought. The thought is succeeded by the feeling. But we try to think our way into our path or our joy or our happiness. We find it through feeling, through being in our body. Our body and our senses are how we experience the world around us. We don't think to experience the world. We think after we've experienced it through the sensations in our body.
So let's take that to some examples, maybe. And if you guys want to comment some of your thoughts and examples too, we'll try and tease out for you what it is, but I'll have her start and tease out things with me. So what was coming up with me when you were asking about, what would you like to do, whether it was related to money or not, that's fine. And I see Carrie on here. She's talking about traveling with your family is your joy, but you can't do it every day. You could, but yeah, you can. You could. That's when I see someone that says can't, I'm just like, you're just shutting off possibility. That's your perspective, because you absolutely can. And there are ways to make money that can make that a reality. Absolutely. And sometimes it doesn't have to be traveling to a faraway land. It could be traveling to the playground. It could be traveling to your backyard. What is your definition of traveling? It could be traveling into a foreign land in a movie. It's just, what is your definition? And are you expanding your possibility through your perspective, or are you contracting it? So that you actually get that gratification when you're going somewhere, when you're watching a movie, you can feel that you're traveling, something like that. But I think that's a great example of expanding your perspective, because clearly when you're with your family is part of it, because otherwise you would just say traveling in general. But also, like, what's your definition of family? Is family close friends that you love? Is family just blood? Is family the people that live in your house? And so is there a different, like, can you expand your definition of family? If nobody wants to, if it involves other people, then call in someone that does. Be an open receptor to someone that does, because maybe people do, but they also just don't think it's a possibility. And so for me, the first thing that came up was a lot of times just, at first, it's like, I just want to stop working, right? I just want to do nothing. We're on a beach. We were just in Cancun, on a beach, relaxing. But then really quickly, what comes up is, well, maybe I'm teaching people real estate while I'm there because I want to help people. And the other thing that I always enjoy is giving back, helping, whether it's the food bank or, even Habitat for Humanity. I don't get to use my hands to build things as much anymore, but I love building things and I enjoy that. And so to actually do that, where they would organize, and we've done this in the past, where we'd fix up a bunch of houses on a street in one day with 200 people. I think it was 6 different churches we ended up doing that with. It was so freaking inspiring. And that thing just lit me up, and didn't make money from it. But is there a way that you could? Sure. And, right, thinking about and instead of or, just align those things together. But even then, even if you're making your money so that you can have that freedom and time to go and do these things and to share these things with your loved ones, with your people around and just be like, wow, I'm so good with these hands. They're given to me and I've honed them throughout the years, and everyone that I know has helped contribute to that. Let's go and give someone else with these things instead of just my mind. We want to flex all these different muscles. I do personally. And so for me to be able to do that, even if we were going to go on a vacation somewhere, okay, anywhere, travel there, we can go and build something there for people, leave something that's lasting. Leave something lasting. And that's what I really love. Whether I can teach someone something or I can build something that's lasting to make their lives better, I love all of that. So for me, I know that resonates in everything that I do, because I would get bored just sitting on a beach doing nothing. I definitely would want to give to someone and make something and leave something lasting. When we always went to that island camping growing up, we would always go there, kayak there with our family, and we'd bring our stuff and we'd build something because it was very primitive on this island. And then we'd come back the next year and see what was there and see what other people would build, if anyone built anything. But we would just inspire through our actions. We would inspire other people, be like, hey, this wasn't here before. And just doing something like that, to me, felt like that is completely in alignment. And so, yeah, I would love if everything that I did included helping other people, leaving a lasting impression. And oh yes, if it's something physical too, because one of my love languages is physical touch. So I love touching things. I love making things. I just love that tangibility of it at the end of the day. So that would feel a lot more complete to me, which might sound general at first, but it brings me happiness. And if I can be there with my family and we can learn something new and we can all grow together and I can give something to all of them, I feel very complete and very happy. And that makes me awesome. So that's me. Tons of fun.
Yeah. So that was just going into that question. You were saying something before that, though, I was going to touch on, and it escaped my mind. If anyone remembers, please let me know. If not, I'll just keep talking and see if it comes back. Do you remember what you were saying?
When? I don't remember which one I was talking about.
Anyway. But I do know it was like about making something easier, because you were saying it can be hard for something. Whatever. If it comes back, it comes back. If not, then it was meant to elude me. So, yeah. So what we're talking about here is like, is your vocabulary, is your view of things, is the meaning that you're giving things, are these things creating a more expansive perspective of what's possible for your reality, or a more contracted,
uplifting, bigger, and all of that build, or very restrictive, that we're using the words can't and but, and just, this, but not that thing, the word not in a lot of times.
And are we just so focused on that end goal? Like, regardless of what it is, it could be connected to finding your path, connected to achieving a goal, connected to having something, connected to the completion of something, whatever it is, connecting to finding that relationship, whatever it is for you that you are working towards that you currently don't have in your life, that you want in your life. It's so easy to harp on the fact that I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't have that yet. I don't have that yet. I don't have that yet. However, a way to make it easier for your mind to be able to see the progress that you're making is to celebrate those small stepping stones. And we are so freaking good at overlooking this. Like, for an example, I'm about to run 13 miles on Sunday, and I've never run this far before. And I'm 20 weeks pregnant right now. And so I think this is a huge accomplishment. And before I even got pregnant, thinking about running a half marathon, I would tell anyone who would listen, that's crazy. Like, people who run half marathons, who run marathons, they're freaking crazy. That will never be me. I would never want to run that much. And yet here I am doing it. And so my first, like my 9-mile run, my 10-mile run, my 11, 12-mile run, I was so excited. But now it's not even a week after I ran my 12-mile run, and I'm already like, is it that big of a deal? Like, do people even care? So your mind will do this. Your mind will find ways to make it seem like your little achievements on the way to your goal are meaningless.
As soon as you get them, sometimes it can diminish them. Right before that, it can diminish them.
Yes.
That's so sad,
but
right?
Your job is to, one, recognize that your mind's going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Two, we've been conditioned to just focus on what's next, focus on what's next. And it's not a bad thing. We naturally are expansive beings. We're hardwired to want more. So it's not bad if you want more in your life. However, it is not a positive thing if you are beating yourself up for not yet having those things in your life.
Yeah.
And when you get a taste of it, like I haven't run 13 miles yet, but I ran 12 miles yet. Savor it. Savor that taste. Savor that experience. We started writing, we started a jar, like a positivity jar, where we write little accomplishments that we would normally overlook. Like, Zac spoke in person for the first time this year. So we did that. I spoke in person for the first time this year. We held our first online workshop. So we did that. I ran my first longest run, 10 miles. That was the longest run I had ever run in my life up until that point. So we did that. So these things that we can overlook, we wrote it down to remind ourselves this is important. And so you can do that and celebrate those small stepping stones. So your mind is like, oh, wow, yeah, this is an important thing. I should focus more on these types of things.
Yeah, let me give you some little hacks in there too. So yeah, it's funny because my mind right now, we've got a jar. I mean, I almost thought about going to get it so you guys could physically see it, but I don't even remember the things that are in there. And I know there's a bunch of things that we put in there, but I can't even remember everything that we put in there. I think got pregnant.
And I'm getting hot.
But I can't remember, and that's what our brain tends to do. So another one besides that,
we can remember all the negative things.
Oh yeah, right. They stand out. But so the idea is with this jar, at the end of the year, we're going to go read them. We put a date on them, and we're going to take them, and we're going to keep that together, and that'll be the 2023, and we could look at that in the future and be really happy. And again, remember those things. So that'll give us that joy and that happiness along the way. But now, in the meantime, I've forgotten some of them. So what some other people tend to do is they make a little cookie jar for themselves, they might call it, where it's a digital file, and you just write those things down in there. So if you're ever feeling low, you're feeling sad, you can go to your little cookie jar and get some inspiration. And that could be something that you did. It's more some of these milestones. We just went to Camp Mexico for the first time together. Is that our first time out of the country together?
Yeah.
Oh, it is, right? Did we write that down?
I don't know if we did. I think we just wrote down the vacation.
So just celebrating little firsts all over the place. My gosh, when she got engaged, she started to celebrate everything.
Engaged. I created a series on my Instagram. First time engaged for everything.
For everything. Eating a PB&J. I don't know if you did that.
The first time you choked on water when we were engaged in Florida.
Like that.
That was so funny.
But it turns something that's bad or negligible into just something fun. Right. And that's the perspective choice that we have to do with that, is we can shift that. So this cookie jar idea, it can even be other things people say about you, because a lot of times we're very quick to dismiss that. So if you get positive feedback from people, if they write it down, do whatever, put that in your digital cookie jar so you can look back at that. And sometimes your mind won't want to hear things from yourself when you're feeling something. But if you hear it from somebody else, we want that external validation, which the good shift would be that we could get around that we don't need that.
But if we've never been taught how to develop that healthy sense of, I am an awesome person, we don't know how to do it.
And we
a
learn
lot
it
of
from
us
our parents,
weren't taught
though.
that. Yes. And our parents have
either way,
a lot of
teach
negative
us.
self-talk that reels in their mind. So we're learning from them. They never teach us how to bring ourselves out of a negative spiral. And so it does help to have those people. And just think about this, just for perspective. Think about if your friend was having a really bad day, and you can put it in the comments. If your friend was having a really bad day and they reached out to you and just said, hey, I'm struggling today. Do you think you could tell me, what do you appreciate about me? Or, hey, I'm having a rough day, or I'm going through a rough time. Can you just give me a little pick me up? How would you feel if your friend reached out to you, one of your best friends? How would you feel if your friend reached out to you and asked you for that? Or if your friend just asked, hey, what do you think of me as a person? You would probably be like, oh, of course I'm going to help you. Of course I'm going to pick you up.
In a heartbeat, you would for a friend.
But yet we don't do that for ourselves.
No.
And we don't want to ask other people for that support. So we close ourselves in and we prevent ourselves from receiving that support from other people when all of us are struggling at some point or another, mentally, emotionally, physically. And we have to learn that it is safe to ask for support in one way or another, mentally, emotionally, or physically, financially, whatever it is.
I like that example a lot. Just if you would reach out to your friend, like, of course they would say good things about you. Or like, wouldn't your friend would say, no, get up, listen to this, take this advice, all those things that we might not do for ourselves. So that's a good perspective shift too, is just pretend that you're your best friend.
But sometimes it's hard. And so if you are someone that you're like, I just can't think anything positive, I'm not going to believe anything positive I say about myself. Reach out to a best friend, actually reach out to them, actually message them and say, hey, I'm having a rough day. Do you think you could just give me a pick me up or help me out of this? Just tell me something positive that you like about me. If they are your friend, they will without hesitation tell you something, but then also recognize that they see that within you because it's true. And the truth of you sees that as well. It's just the ego, the mind, the critical voice that's not even actually yours. It's what you've learned. That will tell you something otherwise because it thinks it's keeping you safe. You can do this with journaling as well. But again, some people just don't like to journal. And if you struggle with journaling, try something else. But if your struggle with if you have an urge to journal and that's a resistance, lean into that resistance, because typically on the things that we have the biggest resistance towards, our biggest breakthroughs are on the other side of those. So that conversation you're resisting, the activity that you're resisting, whatever it is that you find yourself resisting that you keep coming back around to, a huge breakthrough is awaiting you on the other side of that. And a part of you knows that, and it's scared of what's on the other side because it hasn't been there. And also,
are you guys tracking on that? Like, I almost want you to repeat all those things because it's so true. I mean, even I'll feel a resistance towards journaling. Oh, nice try, Lola. That's our cat. But so I'll feel a resistance towards journaling. But when I do end up journaling something out, it's like, okay, I got all of these thoughts. You do always
get breakthroughs with journaling.
I do. I feel like there's a little, there's just a block that I have in there because my mental state just wants to stay in that same state that it's in. It doesn't want to progress. It's like, I know that if I go and I dive into it with journaling, I'm going to probably have a breakthrough, and who knows, that might change everything that I'm doing. And so that feels unsafe because it's the unknown. Where I'm at right now is cool. I have food. I am warm. My cat almost can jump on a table, but we don't know what's going to happen if I get down into my deep mind. Right.
And my perspective of the world is I'm a victim right now. And I don't know if I am done being a victim.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
That's big.
Yeah.
Right on.
And so something that I do want to say here is tell you guys this story real quick, but it's just something to help you realize that regardless of what you're going through, regardless of where you're at versus where you think you should be, where you think you need to be.
This is a good one.
Where you think based on how long you've been working on something, what you think you should already have. And you can get really hard on yourself. Your energy behind your actions matter so much. And when we allow ourselves to get into those spirals, we get into this energy of annoyance, resentment, anger, frustration, feeling stuck. And that can then cause us to take different line of action, which can pull us away from our desired result, right? So we talk about like, yeah, feeling grateful. Gratitude is one of the most powerful energies that you can embody.
Gratitude and love.
Yeah. And love and joy. And we talk about feeling that, but we're like,
those.
but I feel like I don't have anything to be grateful for. And we'll argue that. Okay. So this is something that we did not make this up. We saw it on a podcast, but I don't remember which one it was. So if you've seen it, then feel free to quote it, but
it's spot on though.
But basically we'll reenact it. You want to reenact it, babe? So
sure.
if I
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you guys in the comments can play along too. So how would you feel if I just handed you $1 million?
Sure. Where's your $1 million? Yeah. What? I'd feel good.
Yeah.
I'd feel super good, right? Whatever I was feeling before, I feel better.
Yeah.
Right? The $1 million.
If we were here giving away $1 million on this, and we were just like, all you have to do is comment yes that you want it, and it's yours.
Would you like that?
And you're like, all right, you're about to be $1 million richer.
First person that comments yes.
How would that feel?
$1 million.
How would that feel if you were $1 million richer and all you had to do was accept it? It would feel fucking fantastic, right? You would probably feel ecstatic. You would feel excited. You would feel like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do with myself. And probably if I gave you $1 million and you left the house and some guy cut you off on the road, how would that impact you?
Yeah, that's fine. I got 99 more other reasons to care. What? I don't even know. 999,999 other reasons. Yeah, I'd feel fine, right? I'd be in a better mood. I'd be like, he's having a worse day than me right now, right? Because I just got $1 million. Heck yeah, Carrie.
So
love it.
How would you guys feel if you just walked away with $1 million and then you walk out of the space that you're in and someone cuts you off in traffic, someone says something mean to you? Probably wouldn't be able to mess with your vibe for a little bit, right? At least a few days. You would be high on life. Like, oh my gosh, no one can say anything that's going to mess me up. No one's going to get in my way. No one's going to ruin my vibe. Like, and you're just like jamming to some high vibe music the entire time. Okay, great. So it feels really good to have $1 million. No strings attached.
Cool.
Now, how does it feel? Now, actually answer this, okay? How would it feel? What would you say if I gave you $10 million today, now?
I like $10 million, even more. I'd say more than 10 times better than $1 million if we had to give me a chance of getting it.
But there is a stipulation.
Oh, no.
That you cannot wake up tomorrow.
Oh.
So how would that feel if I gave you $10 million and you wouldn't be able to wake up tomorrow?
Well.
But you would have it for today.
No. That wouldn't feel good at all.
So you wouldn't want to be $10 million richer today?
No. Not if I can't wake up. What's the point?
What's the point?
What's the point?
So you're telling me that waking up tomorrow is more important than $10 million?
I guess so. Wow.
So for anyone that was just like, yeah, I want the $1 million, but no freaking way would I accept the $10 million if I couldn't wake up tomorrow. You're telling me that waking up tomorrow is more important than $10 million, is worth more than $10 million. That being able to wake up and have the day is worth more than $10 million. Now tune back in to how you felt when you were thinking of a possibility of receiving $1 million, no strings attached. You feel so good, so grateful. Like, oh my gosh, yes, absolutely, please. But yet you're saying waking up tomorrow is worth 10 times that amount. How many of us wake up saying, oh man, this day sucks. This day is going to be shitty. I had a bad night last night. I'm not looking forward to this day. I'm so stressed. And we just bring in all of this heaviness into our day.
Into the very beginning of your day.
That we just decided was worth more than $10 million.
So we thought that it would be great to choose the next day over $10 million. Yet we wake up every day and sometimes we don't feel that gratitude, that happiness, that possibility of the day, that just fullness that we get to live every day. Every darn day can be whatever we make of it. And we can go and travel with our loved ones. We can go and help people build houses. You can go run a marathon while you're pregnant. You can do lots of inspiring things. And there's many things that can happen from that and spiral out and inspire other people and uplift them. And yet, if you just wake up and you're all sad and then you're like, well, maybe tomorrow I'll do something. Well, what a waste of a day. Just take the $10 million yesterday and be done with it then, if that's just how you're going to live your life. But yet you didn't choose to do that. And so if you didn't choose to do that, then wake up every day. Go
feeling
after
like you
everything.
would if you had just received $1 million. Because you just said waking up is 10 times more important than that. Now just think of how your days would differ if you started each day with the perspective of how good can this get? How good can my day get? Oh, it started off something crappy happened. Well, it can only get better.
Yeah.
Hit a little rough spot. Well, what can I do to make this next moment even better? Well, that thing that I wanted to happen hasn't happened yet, but I know it's getting closer. And I'm so grateful for every moment because I know that this moment is more important to me than $10 million, than $100 million, than anything money can buy. Yet, a part of me gets more excited when I think about the money than I think about this day. What if I shifted my perspective to how great can I let this day be? If I felt grateful, what would I do next? If I felt excited about life today, what would I do? If I trusted that everything was working out and that it didn't even matter if it didn't because I get to try again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Because that day is another $10 million and another and another. And if I did everything I could do and it was still a shitty day today, but I got to try again tomorrow, how would I go to bed feeling? Knowing that I have this opportunity. This is a perspective shift from getting into the energy and living in that energy of, well, it hasn't happened yet. It's not happening yet. It's happening for that person, but not me.
I always like to say,
this always happens to me.
Act as if.
Yes.
Right? Act as if those things are already on their way towards you, as if there's nothing that can stop them from coming towards you. Yeah, there might be a little speed bump. Okay, doesn't matter, because I know that's for me. That's on its way right towards me. Everything that I love, everything that I want to be, all those emotions, I can feel them right now because that's coming towards me right now. And me waking up, I get to get a little bit closer towards that. Oh, I can't wait for it to be here. I'm so excited when it's here, but you know what? I love the journey, but it's coming towards me. You've got that faith. You've got that energy. That's what we're talking about when you're attracting that right towards you, right? You're in alignment with everything that you're trying to do, and you have that right perspective where it's coming. So act as if it's coming, because gosh darn it, if you act as if it's not coming, you're going to attract that towards you, and it's not going to come.
Yeah.
So act as if that's coming.
And if it didn't come today, get excited because that means it's going to come tomorrow or the next day or the next day. And I understand that that's easier said than done, but we can train our mind muscle to believe this, to see this, to feel into this.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. So that's what we're doing here, guys. We're training your muscle a little bit more every week, every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're just going to do a couple different ways of thinking, some different exercises, dive into her world of energetic alignment and intuition. And gosh, there's so much that you guys don't know that she knows right at this point. You don't even have an idea of 10% of the stuff that she knows. And I'm just trying to extract all of these things out just to give you guys a taste of all of this, because this is too fun, too awesome to not share with the world. So please have an awesome week. Get anybody else, bring them along with you, because part of it as well is having a cohort of people that are loving, supporting you, doing all those things with you. Because if you have naysayers, they're going to bring you down. But if you have yay-sayers, they're going to spiral you up.
Yay-sayers.
Yay-sayers.
Good.
Yeah, you like that, huh? That just kind of flew right out. But that feels right. Because I don't like any of these negative types of thoughts. I feel them. Sure. They happen all the time, right? But we don't have to acknowledge them. We don't have to give them any more power than they already have when they're thoughts. If anything, I want to squash that down in my brain and say, nope, bad thought. Naysayers, boom, no. Yay-sayers, ba-ding, might make a new little button or something. Yay-sayers, come attract me. Maybe a neon shirt, something like that. But heck yeah. So bring your friends. Bring someone who's uplifting, bring them along. We love positive energy. Great, rah, let's go be awesome, because let's go be awesome, right? But we also love people who are struggling. Why? Because they're people. And we've been there.
Everyone's going to struggle, and
everyone struggles.
Even like sometimes I can focus too much on the struggle because I get really into it. I like to break it apart.
She likes to break it apart
and really get there. But sometimes Zac can try to be too positive too soon. So we balance each other out. And I think that it's good because you're going to have negative days. You're going to have negative experiences, but can you see how it's going to serve you on the other side of that? And also honor the negative experience, honor what you're going through, honor the beliefs that are popping up, the feelings that you're feeling. They are messages for you, and you're not always going to be there. You're not always going to live there. You're going to get to the other side of it. But can you let yourself, one, experience this and also see that there is a way to get to the other side and shift your perspective around what you're experiencing so that you can go from, why did this happen to me, to, oh my gosh, I know why this happened to me. And I'm so grateful for it. Right. It's the same situation, just a shift in perspective.
And that's what we talked about on last week's episode, is we were talking about acknowledging when you're in a negative type of state. It's okay, right? It's part of the journey. Acknowledge that you're here. Validate your feelings. They're there. They're real. You're feeling them. Validate them. Say, yep, okay, that's how I'm feeling. Now what do I want to do? Right? Do I want to wallow in there, or do I want to peel off and go a different way? But accept them. Because again, wouldn't you want your friend to just accept you? They'd be, it's okay, you're feeling that way. That's one of the first things that they would say. It's okay, right? And then they can uplift you from there. So do it to yourself too. But yeah, surround yourself with great people. So we love having you all here every week, every Monday, whether you had a shitty Monday, I hope it got a little better, or whether, you have already had a great Monday and you're like, I just want to get on one of those little Mario Kart Zoom speedy pads that make you go real fast. Like, or the fun ones when you're at an airport and you've got those walking pathways.
And that's also that's
life.
That's what perspective can do for you. You could either walk at your regular pace, get stuck behind traffic, or you can hop on one of those and speed up. Perspective, it just opens up so much possibility. So always ask, what lens am I choosing to see this through? What lens am I looking at the situation through? And is there a more supportive way to see this? Is there a more supportive way to view this? Is there a more expansive way I could see this? And just starts with asking yourself different questions, maybe recruiting people to say, hey, I'm having a hard time getting out of this mentality? Can you give me some suggestions? And yeah, the people movers, I like them too. And it really is just getting honest with yourself and saying, is this perspective right now supporting me? And if it's not, then I'm choosing to stay here. So what can I do to get out of this? Because you always can. There's always like oh, this hasn't happened. Great. Or like, okay, it hasn't happened yet, but that just means it's one day closer to it happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Same situation, different perspective. And you have the power to shift that, which shifts your energy, which shifts what experiences you are a vibrational match for.
Heck yeah. Love it, guys. I hope you loved it too. We'll be here every week giving a little bit more. So share it. Love it. Shout out to Julie. Go get that coaching program. I hope that's awesome. I'm glad you're excited about that. And we want to share in what you guys are excited about too and support you on your journey, right? We do. We genuinely do. So come let us know. Bring other people, come let us know. And gosh, yeah, we love all you so much. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, have an awesome Monday here. Awesome rest of your week.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to see you next week, and we'll get another dose of energy and mindset.
Yes.
Booyah. Enjoy, everyone. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.